Joe the warrior sat in the tavern, the warmth of the fire crackling nearby as the scent of ale filled the air. Normally, he would be out on an adventure, sober and ever in search of treasure. But today, he had decided to take a rare break. The past week had been lucrative, and he felt he deserved a moment to enjoy the fruits of his labor. But then, a thought crossed his mind. "Where's Woofer?" Joe called out, his voice slightly slurred from the ale. "Woofer, here, buddy. Come to Joe." But his calls went unanswered. Woofer, his faithful dog, was nowhere in sight. Joe frowned. Woofer was never far, always at his side when the treasure hunts called for it. However, this time, the dog was out for a walk. He was in the fields, running as fast as he could, keeping himself in top shape. After all, even attack dogs needed to stay fit. Meanwhile, Woofer had wandered far from the tavern, his paws kicking up dirt as he ran through the open fields. The day was fresh, the air crisp, and Woofer was enjoying his freedom. He came across a stream, its waters sparkling in the sunlight. Without hesitation, he leaped onto the floating logs, skillfully jumping from one to the next until he made it to the other side. Onward, Woofer ran, scaling a steep hill with ease. When he reached the summit, his eyes widened in amazement. Below him, standing tall and proud, was a tree unlike any he had ever seen, a golden apple tree. The tree's branches were heavy with ripe, gleaming apples, each one shining like a tiny sun. Woofer's eyes immediately locked on one of the apples, but his focus didn't stay there for long. What he saw next was even more exciting, a ball. The sight of the ball sent Woofer into a frenzy. His tail wagged furiously, and he barked excitedly. Without a second thought, he grabbed the ball in his mouth and began his descent down the mountain. Woofer slid down the hillside, crossing the river with a splash, and running as fast as his paws would carry him. His mission was clear. He had to bring the ball back to Joe. Back at the tavern, Joe was finishing his drink when he heard the familiar sound of Woofer's paws on the ground. The dog burst through the door, panting and wagging his tail. Woofer dropped the ball at Joe's feet, looking up at him with expectant eyes. Joe raised an eyebrow. "What did you find, Woofer?" "A ball?" He bent down, picked up the ball, and stared at it, his heart skipping a beat. It wasn't just any ball. It was a golden apple, a treasure beyond belief. "Well done, Woofer," Joe exclaimed, a wide grin spreading across his face. "That pays for a month of ale, and some doggy treats, of course." Joe knelt down, petting Woofer on the top of his head. What a good boy, Woofer. And in that moment, both master and dog knew they had found something even better than treasure, each other's company, and the promise of many more adventures to come.